everybody. Welcome to Two Old Bloggers, partnered with the Fans First Sports Network. I'm Dave, alongside with Darren. Yes, he's back. And we've got a Christmas gift that's just going to keep on giving. What a holiday thriller it was. The Vikings defense forced 6. Count them, 6 turnovers. Harrison Smith delivered a vintage masterpiece. Jordan Addison exploded on that 65-yard run for the dagger in the game. And we spoiled the Lions' playoff dreams. Yeah, buddy, I love being... If we're not in it, at least we can spoil it for others. We won 23-10, despite rookie Max Brosmer managing only 3 net passing yards. Yes, you heard that right. We'll get into it. Today, we'll relive that chaos, dive into the undrafted status of QB Max Brosmer. How did he do? Where should we go with him? His wild ride. Unpack the historic Pro Bowl snubbing that we got, as well as debate whether Speedy Naylor deserves another contract. All this with Drew Bunting as we make the case to why extending Brian Flores is a must on the Vikings list if they wish to be in contention in 2026. So buckle up, Vikings fans. This one's full of heart, hope, and pure SKOL magic. Let's roll with Two Old Bloggers. Rock! Vikings First and SKOL presents This Week in Vikingsland with Darren and Dave, your Two Old Bloggers. And here we all are. We have Drew on the left, Darren in the middle, and me with my brand new Dear Santa, all I want for the Vikings is to win a Super Bowl t-shirt.
Yeah.
Great t-shirt.
Mm-hmm. And I'll start wearing it early. I didn't ask for it last year, but I got to ask for it this next year.
I was thinking about, that's interesting. That segues into something I was going to say I thought about yesterday. Remember those shirts that say just one before I die?
Mm-hmm.
You know those Viking shirts? I used to laugh my ass off when I was 25 years old. Oh, God, that's a great shirt. You know, it's not funny anymore. When I saw one the other day and I thought, I'm not laughing at that anymore. Now that I'm 60, I don't get. It used to be a funny shirt. I loved it. Now I'm like,
please. I know. Yeah. I feel the same way.
Anytime, Vikings. Anytime.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Knowing when the men pass away in my family, I'm hoping so.
Yeah.
Darren, you made it back. How was the drive back up north?
No, it was fine yesterday. There's like our highway. There's only like one highway into the Northwest Territories, more or less, and there's never anybody on it. So you can go like 100 miles an hour. You're not going to meet any cops. You're not going to meet barely any traffic. I hit a ptarmigan, which is like a pheasant type bird,
okay,
and killed it. So I was very disappointed about that. But they're dumb. They're like partridges, pheasants. They're dumb. They're right in the middle of the road. I couldn't avoid them. So R.I.P. ptarmigan. I'm sorry I killed you.
Guessing they're from Wisconsin then, right? Those animals?
Yeah. Yeah. And saw a moose on the side of the road too. So a little bit of wildlife. I didn't kill the moose.
No, you don't want to hit a moose. Trust me.
No. Yeah. But super cold up here, but Merry Christmas, everybody. Hope hope you had a great happy holidays. Hope you had a great time the past few days with family, and thanks for coming out to watch today before football gets started.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to start off with the Vikings shocked the Lions. I know it was 2 days ago. 3 days ago. And it seems like forever. But it's worth reliving because it was so fun. Or funny to watch. That depended on your point of view. All right, Now let's start with theme 1. And, of course, the buttons don't work. Got the music.
Music
Find here.
Live.
There we go.
Yes. The knockout blow.
That's a good photo right there. I like it.
Yes. Why the Christmas Day game was pure NFL holiday magic. Worth reliving is the theme of this theme 1. I think it is a good theme. We'll talk about your Minnesota Vikings defeating the Detroit Kittens 23-10 by forcing 6 turnovers and ending Detroit's postseason hopes in brutal fashion.
Yeah. You gotta love that. Sweet.
This win,
we swept them.
Yes, we did. And it's been a while.
Yes, it has.
This win was Brian Flores' masterpiece. Absolutely. Without a doubt. He was aggressive, chaotic schemes, and he could turn a good defense into a legendary one. He made Goff just whimper most of the day. Heroes for the day were Harrison Smith, of course, Andrew Van Ginkel,
Yeah.
the unflappable Will Reichard, the best kicker in the NFL. We'll get to why he's not in the Pro Bowl here in a bit, but also they were just absolutely fantastic. If you're a Vikings fan and wondering about 2026 hope, or just love seeing a pride-filled performance, this game was absolutely fabulous about it because this defense is competent. It's more than competent. It's one of the best in the league. And then we'll get into why we need to keep B-Flow here a little bit later to keep this defense going. Now, was it a meaningless game for us other than playing for pride or playing the role of spoiler? Some people say, yeah, it's a meaningless game. Should have lost, gone for draft position. No. I'll take, if you want to call it culture, I'll go for the culture of the win. You learn how to win. You love how to win. You like how to win. You go to win. The whole purpose of this game is to win. Now, they started off, they were slow. They were missing CD, Brian O'Neill, Ryan Kelly, J.J. McCarthy, all out. But they rested our hopes on the defense, and the defense pulled it out, and pulled it out in spectacular fashion. We had Harrison Smith, just of a game. What did you guys think of Harrison Smith's game?
Well, I'm sure Drew is going to echo, but what he had 2 tackles for loss, he had an interception, he had 2 passes defensed, and he had the sack too. And this was 2015, 2016, 2017 Harrison Smith, and this has not been something that has just came out of this game. Dave and Drew, we have seen this consistently over the past 5 or 6 weeks since Brian Flores' defense, who he talked about it himself. and Harrison Hitman Smith did too, about how the defense decided, I think after the Chargers game probably, that they had to get more aggressive on defense. And so I think they're blitzing now at over 50% of the time, which is by far the highest. So they've gotten like super aggressive. Brian Flores and the defense have said, we just screw it. We're going to throw the house at these offenses and pressure them and blitz them as often as we can. Don't let the quarterback sit back there and see what happens. And it has worked perfectly. And Harrison Smith has been a big part of that. I think they blitzed him 8 or 9 times in the game Thursday. And he has been at the line of scrimmage, blitzing often or bailing out, just creating a lot of confusion the last half of the season. And I just love the way that Brian Flores has utilized him and Harrison Smith just going forward, right? And I think he's also embraced the whole thing where he's part play caller on the field. And that has given him more agency with the defense than I think he's ever had. And he just looks like a new guy. He looks like a 27-year-old, not a soon to be 37-year-old out there. And the Christmas Day thing was just the best game I've seen him play in a long time, but he also has played really, really well the past, I think, 5 or 6 games, and makes you wonder, should he retire?
He looked absolutely fantastic. He's going to go down as, when he stops playing for the Vikings, when he retires, it's going to be one of my favorite Vikings up on my Viking Wall of Fame. I have my favorites, Matt Blair, Alan Page. I got those. He's be right up there with those guys.
Mine
Not
sits
only
right
is
there.
he a fantastic football player, but off the field, what a great dude. You don't hear about him drunk at a Wendy's drive-thru or something. You don't hear any of the kind of crap about Harrison Smith. He's a class act, class football player, and the day he retires, he should be put in the Ring of Honor and the Hall of Fame. I wanted to specifically say that interception he had, and I went back and rewatched it, and I made a post about it in the Gallahorn group, specifically talking about that interception. And the more times I watched it, the more times I was blown away by it. And Toonces kept saying, "Why are you watching that over and over again?" And I say, because it's a thing of freaking beauty. I've only seen maybe 10 or 12 safeties since I've been watching football 50 years that anticipate a pass like that. Look at the anticipation. Go look at it again. It's incredible, the anticipation he had, the instincts he had on that specific interception.
And he baited Goff on it too.
He baited Goff. I mean, no safety in today's game is going to make that move. None of them are. That right there, that interception, I'm glad he made it. And if he retires after this season, I'm glad it was the second to last game that he made it, because he's made a lot of great ones, guys. But that wasn't for a touchdown or anything. It was just the way it unfolded and evolved. It just showed everything that guy's about. That's my favorite Harrison Smith interception of all time. And I can't tell. I was like, yeah, I was so happy. You can't teach that stuff, David, at any practice. To anticipate comes with experience, and it comes with the knowledge of knowing your position and knowing the quarterbacks. I know he's played against Goff a lot of times. Just a fantastic football player. I'm so glad we drafted him. Has there been a better draft pick, maybe Jefferson, besides Harrison Smith over last 12, 13 years? I'm so glad he's a Viking. He's
without a doubt.
He's lost a step. He's lost a step, and he's probably not coming back next year and whatever. But what a great Christmas Day treat for everybody. And they did something up on the big board or something. They showed him, and everybody gave him an ovation. I don't know the details
During a
of it.
2-minute warning.
What happened? I still don't know the details.
They didn't show it on Netflix, so we didn't see.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what was reportedly happened is that they showed him on the sidelines and said something, "Hey, this is Harrison Smith." And the crowd went absolutely wild. And he was blowing kisses, and it was a thank you from the fans to him. And he supposedly was in tears on the sideline because he is so loved.
That's great. That is great. Great player. Great player.
To continue with the game, we had Aaron Jones. Now talk about somebody that loves the sport and wants to play. Aaron Jones went out early. And he's like, no, I'm coming back in and I'm going to play. Right? He's not Marcus Davenport going, oh, I got a boo-boo. I'm out for the season. Sorry. He came back.
Marcus Davenport.
And he played. And it's just, he refused to take the Minnesota Vikings luck, right? Which is typical. You got Miles Price on the opening kickoff, turf monster, grabs his ankle and just bends it over. And it's just like, here we go. But he's not that type. He's like, shoulder, is it still attached? Can I hold a football? Let's go. So it was just absolutely great of him to come out and do that. Second quarter, even though second quarter we're getting into, Eric Wilson stood out, which was great. Where's my Eric Wilson? Here we go. Come on.
Is that it for Aaron Jones, Darren and Dave? You see it?
As in, do you think that's it for? Are we going to release him?
Yeah, I don't want to ruin I know you got a format going on. I just wanted to throw that question out real quick.
No, I think it's. Well, it's certainly going to be, and we'll get to it when we have our positional overview, that starts sadly in about 2 weeks' time. But it's definitely a question the Vikings are going to have. Because I think his salary cap number is 11 million or something like that in 2026, which is a lot for a guy who's not a bell cow running back anymore. And injuries again are an issue. His age, again is an issue. Can he not fall off the cliff? So I get the feeling that he won't be back. But the other part of that is you got to have somebody to step in and take his snaps and reps and do some of the things that he does. And the Vikings don't have that on the roster right now. So
correct.
And he scored a touchdown, which we'll get to. But Eric Wilson, dude, even though he wasn't one of the major heroes from Thursday, he starred. He was making tackles all over the place. And we'll talk about him. Whether do we bring him back? We've already done one segment of a show on Eric Wilson. But he isn't lessening his play either. It's crazy.
No, he's been
the most solid defensive player the whole year, hasn't he? He and Redmond. I mean,
correct.
I think
if you
talk about every week, week along the line, I think Wilson's been about the strongest defensive player we've had.
Well, you just look at, if you look at the stats, right? I think he's right up there. I think he's tied for second on the team for sacks. I think he has 6.5 this year. He leads the team in tackles for a loss. He leads the team, I think, in tackles, or he's second. You look at, and every week he does something noticeable. That, what was it? I'm just trying to think of it. It was last week. Yeah, in the game last week that they won. Remember that fourth down play with the Cowboys? Was it the Cowboys? I'm thinking, I'm losing track. But he made that tackle that forced a 4-and-out, like by the Cowboys. I think if he doesn't make that tackle, the Cowboys get a first down and they continue the drive, and who knows what happens. And those are the and Eric Wilson is a guy you can trust to make that tackle, whereas the Vikings, miss so many tackles or they get driven back on so many tackles. Eric Wilson is not that guy. You take in the pass rushing ability that he's shown this year. Drew, I agree with you. Him and Redmond have been the most consistently best defensive players the Vikings have had all year.
Oh, wait. Redmond, Eric Wilson, and I want to leave out Jeff Okuda. He's been really important too this year.
Scottish Bear, thanks for joining us, and congratulations on your team winning the North. Thanks to last night's game where Baltimore beat the shit out of that team from Wisconsin.
Yes.
And with Wilson, the question is, again, we talked about it already, but is even at his age, is it the fact that Brian Flores knows how to use him like the right way. Is that what can coax another year or two of this kind of play out of him? I don't know.
That's a great question.
That is because he has not played like this any other time other than 2020 in the Zimmer defense.
Now, which also ties in, does Harry calling the plays and orchestrating the defense from the field also play into that?
Another thing, right? That throws in,
because he obviously played with both.
Yeah, you throw it all into that equation. Some pretty tough decisions, though. Like Clifford says, he's 31 years old. He'll be 32 late September. That's not really an age, even at inside linebacker, that teams like to keep him. Can he do the Bobby Wagner thing and play at a high level well into his 30s? I don't know. He's not Bobby Wagner, but he sure played like Bobby Wagner this year. I just don't know if you can count on that a second year in a row.
How do you explain guys like Bobby Wagner? That is just crazy. Maybe he
just
is. Maybe he's got that.
Ever do it?
Got that gene in him or something. But Eric Wilson's been great to watch this year. That's been a good play.
He has. And then we had more Max Brosmer. Followed by that long 19-play drive from Detroit in the second quarter, where guess who ripped the ball out? That's his hand, Eric Wilson, ripping the ball out of Jameer Gibbs' hands, ending their 19-play drive.
No, they didn't end the 19-play drive. They scored on that. It was the drive before.
The drive before?
Yeah.
Thank you for the correction. I appreciate it.
Speaking of which, you want to take why that Gibbs picture's up there. Did any team defend better on Gibbs than the Vikings in these two games they played against Detroit? I mean, they shut that guy down. And that's Detroit's whole game plan. First, you get Gibbs. First, you shut down Gibbs. Gibbs, pressure Goff. That's how you beat the Lions. And Flores has it down, because I don't remember Gibbs really doing much against us this season. Last season was a different story, but the Vikings controlled him this year.
Well, and Gibbs has been tearing it up this season as well. He's his normal stuff, but yes, we shut him down. So you
let Gibbs run free and you give Goff time to pass, you're not going to beat the Lions many weeks. I mean, that's their whole. And the Vikings did shut down both of those areas. But I don't remember seeing Gibbs do anything but that fumble, Darren. That's about all I remember him doing.
No, if you go look at his at the Lions' overall rushing stats in the two games this year against the Vikings, well below their standards. And you're right, Drew. That's a big reason for the Viking success. But when the Lions were tearing through us in 2024, in 2023, in 2022. It always seemed like they're in 2nd and 3, 2nd and 2, third and short, positions where they've got run and pass available to them, and you just can't do the kind of pressures that you can when it's 2nd and long or 3rd and long. The Vikings earned the right to rush the passer in both of their games against Detroit, and you saw what happened, because if you get Goff moving his feet a little bit, and get him, like a lot of quarterbacks, but him in particular, because of his lack of mobility, you can see he's just not as accurate, as effective when he has to move off his spot than he is when he can sit back there and go through his reads and figure out what the coverages are. So, the stopping their rushing attack was a huge reason why the Vikings won these two games.
As Raymond says, Gibbs averaged 2.4 yards per carry.
And Raymond, the great Raymond Hoagland.
I think the longest run that the Lions had in their two games this year was in the first game by David Montgomery. It was an 11-yard carry, and Blake Cashman stripped the ball from Montgomery in that carry, so it didn't even amount to anything. So that's pretty impressive run defense against the Lions team, which offensive line isn't what it was last year and the previous couple of years, but still, they got a lot of weapons.
Yeah.
You know what? And I want to let everybody know that the fan bases are all the same. I watched a couple. Yes, I watch the other team's podcast when they lose to the Vikings because I like seeing people angry. I enjoy seeing hosts angry. And Dave never gets angry, so you can't say it's him. But They want Campbell fired. They want Goff gone. They want everybody gone. It's the same thing. Every fan base. I mean, what has Goff done for that team? You want to get rid of him over that? I mean, come on. They all do the same. Fan bases are all kind of the same. So
I do watch other fan bases, especially the Packers, especially when they lose and they're crying.
Well, I got friends at the Lions. When I got friends because a lot of the Lions ones do the Wolverine ones. So they carry it over. They do both. So I watch a lot of the Wolverine stuff. So I actually, I know a few of these guys, and they know I like to see them angry, so they'll go extra angry.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, the third quarter kicks off, and Detroit gets going, and then it ends quickly when Amon-Ra is called offsides on third down, and boop, punt. Brosmer is Brosmer. But then we have Byron Murphy.
Oh, yeah.
With the interception. Now, Detroit's calling it's an arm punt, Dave. It's just nothing more than an arm punt. No, it's your drive failed because we had an interception.
An arm punt? Is that what you said?
Arm punt, yeah. Where a quarterback throws deep and it gets intercepted and they go, it's no different than a punt.
How about he was pressured up his ass and he threw a bad pass and Murphy picked it off?
How about that? Yes, exactly.
Well, that's what it was. Again, that was another example of Goff not looking very comfortable in the pocket. Really, in that situation, he probably is better off just eating that and taking a sack. Instead, he kind of threw it up there. I think his arm got hit a little bit too, but he was not
nice to Detroit fans. If any are watching,
I think the offensive line of Detroit went Roberto Duran. Darren, I think they did. I seriously, by the fourth quarter, no mas. I don't think they wanted to block the Vikings anymore. Penei Sewell wanted to get the hell out of there. They're driving him nuts. And remember, Roberto Duran waved his hands at Sugar Ray Leonard. Now you beat my ass too much. I don't want to continue. I think their offensive line was just getting crashed on, man. It was, and that's the Lions, David. That's a good offensive line usually. I mean,
yeah, and Penei Sewell's an all-pro player. And
by the end of the game, we just want to go home and get drunk. We don't want to block these guys. I've seen enough of Van Ginkel. I mean, for God's sake, they don't want to block him anymore.
Well, then comes in because Aaron Jones was out. We got to see Ty Chandler. What did you think of Ty Chandler's debut this season? Coming off,
I forgot he was on the team. I forgot he was on the team. I did. I saw him get a carry, and my wife saw, "What the hell is that, Amp Lee?" And I said, "No, that's Ty Chandler." Oh yeah, where's he been?
He's been, but he got his few carries. I think he got.
They really, and they needed him in there because Jones is not 100%. He's hurting. He's been taking a big load of the rushing game the past 2 weeks, and he needs some rest. And I think Jones went down once or twice in that game. So you got to who do you bring in there? You're not going to bring in Xavier Scott. You're going to bring in Ty Chandler, who's got a bit more speed and explosiveness, and see if he could, or if you could rip off an explosive run with him. Didn't happen. I thought he did okay, but he didn't get a lot of snaps. But he didn't. He produced positive yards when he ran. Nothing more than 3 or 4, but that was a positive play for the Vikings in this game. The offense, anyway. If you could get 3 or 4 yards, not get sacked, not throw an incompletion, that was a huge positive for the Vikings offense. So he gave them a little bit of something. He's a veteran. He knows what he's doing out there.
Yeah. But it put us in position for another Will Reichard field goal.
God, dude.
Money man.
That's just... And this one was a 52-yarder. I think he's hit more out of 50 than any other kicker in the league this year.
It's a shock when the last field goal he made was that a 56-yarder, I think.
56-yarder.
With just like maybe 2 feet inside the upright. I am shocked when his field goal, his makes are not basically straight up the middle.
Straight down the middle. Yeah.
I almost had to dock him a couple of points because he didn't bang it right up the middle on that last make, and it was like 2 feet to the right of the or 2 feet to the left, right upright. So, but the guy is just automatic out there.
Must have been the spot or the
you never want
to
to say your kicker's the MVP of your team, but he's the MVP of this team. I mean, who's been more solid all year?
Fourth quarter, and Andrew Van Ginkel. God, what a game he had.
Well, what a season he's had, really. Like, when the Vikings defense, they hadn't quite gotten it together, but they just did not look really themselves during that 4 or 5 game stretch where he had the neck injury and he wasn't out there. Even if he isn't sacking guys, just the wariness the offense has when he's on the field, because they're like, where's he going to be? And you basically can't throw a screen to his side of the field because you know he's going to sniff it out and either intercept it or tip it or get in the throwing lane, so it makes it a difficult throw for you and screws off the timing of it. He's just such an important player on this defense, and he's been lighting things up the past few weeks either. Get more sacks, but just his overall impact on this defense I don't think you can say enough about it.
He is the most important part of this defense. And I remember back when he was missing that time, David, you and I were talking private message about when remember the defense was getting run over on the ground game by other teams. And we kept saying we're not going to be right till we get Van Ginkel back. And we even talked about, I remember 2 months into the season, we were having discussions on the preview shows that I was on with you guys about he is the main guy on the defense. And he is. He's not only this season, how about his Viking career? 7 turnovers that he's been in on since he's been here. He's only been here, 2 seasons?
Right.
That guy, and talk about handpicked from Flores. Flores drafted that guy when he was with Miami. He was the one that stepped up to get him, I think, from Wisconsin, the school he went to. But he's the most important guy in the defense, if you ask me, Van Ginkel. He's always around the football. He's a splash playmaker. It just feels different when he seems to get the whole ball rolling for Flores, to get the whole thing. He seems like the guitar player that comes out and shreds that lead. All right, we're on. The show is on. The show is on. Eddie played Eruption. The show is on. He seems like the spark plug of the defense, and he is probably my favorite defensive player on the Vikings. But he's been great ever since he's been here. They're not the same defense without him. They're not.
No, they're not. And the way he can anticipate, way he reads an offense and anticipates, throws the flat, throws screens, it's a thing of beauty. But speaking of thing of beauty, Dallas Turner.
Yeah.
He has 7 sacks on the season.
Does he really?
Yeah.
7 or 6.5. I thought he got
if you go PFF counts a half as a whole sack. He has 7.
6.5 is 7 if you're from Alabama. They get to roll everything up. They get to mark everything up.
It's because you were a part of the sack. Now the official number is 6.5 because they split sacks.
I didn't know that. You talk about somebody to be excited about for next season. I mean, right there. There you go.
Yeah, and he stepped up, and he didn't get, yes, he was in when Van Ginkel was in or out, and then when Grenard was out, he was playing a Grenard role, and then anytime they had all 3 of them in, which we used to call the NASCAR package, but the NASCAR package was a little bit different this year. It was modified, and it's just he is developing, and he's only 22 years old, I think.
Yes,
he's
doesn't
not
turn
even close to his prime.
Like I said, he's had to learn. His talent's always been there, but at Alabama, he did what he wanted. He's had to come to Minnesota and learn how to be in a role, play a role in what he's doing with other people, and that took him a while to adjust to. I can't just do whatever I want. At Alabama, he lined up everywhere. He'd line up his safety if you wanted to. They just said, "Go get the guy, get the quarterback." But you don't do that with Flores. Flores, you got a job to do, and I think, man, he could be really exciting next year. Really exciting player.
And then Blake Cashman. You guys talked about him. He stood out as well. 15 to 17 tackles.
Wow.
Or 15 to 17, depending on where you track it. It's linebacker dominance personified.
Right.
And have him and Wilson together, and we forget about Ivan who. It's just, it's amazing. The dagger with, and you got to give it to Kevin O'Connell. He called the play and in the round.
Finally.
Yep.
Jet sweep I've been yelling about since September.
With the jet sweep to Jordan Addison for 65 yards. Yes.
He was cooking down that sideline, 21 miles an hour.
Yep.
Which is only 10 away from my record. I ran 31 miles an hour in high school.
Oh, okay.
But you'd be
from
surprised
the
how
cops
fast
or something.
When you're running from the Wakuza down the alleyways of San Diego, you can reach 31.
Uh-huh.
Now that was what a great play that was. That was the dagger. You called it right, David.
And then of course we had later another Will Reichard field goal. Help put the Kitties out of their misery.
God, Campbell was mad. He was so mad so mad. I love it.
He was, and that was great.
Mad. Every time he had a 4th down and 1, they got a false start, and he was just like seething on the sideline, seething. Great, man.
As Raymond said, Cashman was 17 tackles, 6 solo, 1 sack, and 1 tackle for loss. It's just, he had a brilliant game. The whole defense did. And, the heroes of the defense, we call Harrison Smith, without a doubt. He was one of the heroes, his masterpiece. We had Andrew Van Ginkel. He had a great game. And it was all because of this man. Brian Flores. He's got to cook on for longer than just.
Did he set that record? Consecutive games without allowing a touchdown pass? Oh, he didn't?
No, because the Tesla touchdown.
The Tesla one was.
Oh, shit.
He went six games without. The 7th game, they got it. But we'll get to how he did.
Like 1978 or something. That hadn't been done in that amount of time.
But we'll get to what he, some of the stuff he did. But it's just, it was a fantastic game. Some of the supporting stars, Blake Cashman, Will Reichard, of course. God, he was so good. Do we hold our breath anymore when he comes up to kick? I don't. And I did for years, for decades. I don't. Jordan Addison on that run, God, sweet. Byron Murphy on his interception. Hey, it's good to see him get back to taste it again.
The defense, this is the defense that we were counting on to get to the Super Bowl. This is them. This is the defense right now. This is the defense coming together. If we had any kind of offense in any kind of situation going into the postseason right now, the Vikings would be the team to beat. Because this defense is great.
And T-Bass said, take a look at the defense was like when Cashman was out. He's the glue. And
that's
very
true.
well. Dalton says, just think if we would have had held on to that Bear win, we would have been playing the Packers for the playoffs spot.
A lot of what ifs.
No, there's a lot of what ifs, Dalton. A lot of what ifs that
they lost a lot of games they shouldn't have lost the Pittsburgh game, shouldn't have lost the Atlanta game.
Right.
There's a
lot.
You remember, like what we talked about at the beginning of the season when you're looking at the schedule, that gauntlet area there in the kind of the middle of the season where they're playing the Eagles and they're playing the Ravens and et cetera, and that was what they had to survive to not have the season go south, and we lost 6 of those 7 games, mostly because of poor quarterback play, but the defense wasn't quite there yet either at that point. And the Vikings did not survive the gauntlet. They failed. They failed miserably in the gauntlet, and that's why they are going to be sitting home in the playoffs and watching the Packers play and the Bears play.
I would agree with you 100%, but I wouldn't say Brian Flores' defense failed. He kept them in a lot of those games.
And we'll get to that. There's a number for that, Drew. There's a number for that, and we'll get to
him the head coach. Make him the head coach.
Who is it? Bulldog, poor Lions, their Super Bowl window was last year, and they got smoked by the Redskins.
We never say poor Lions.
Yeah. But it is what it is. Here we go. Bulldog. This is the one I was looking for. We still don't have the personnel in the secondary. Needs better corners like Nation Wright. We need better corners. Just think about what this defense has done and who have we got for corners that are halfway decent. We've got Brian Murphy, and we have Rodgers. That's it.
A lot of what's tied to secondary success is pressuring the quarterback. Believe it or not, if you look at the numbers, teams that don't pressure the quarterback, their secondaries get violated weekly.
Mm-hmm.
If you pressure the quarterback, your secondary is going to look a lot better than it does. I mean, I agree. We do need. I would like to see him get a couple corners this offseason. I'd like to see him draft a really high cornerback because with that pressure, it should be happy to play corner with Minnesota, but it makes them look a lot better. The pressure that they're putting on these quarterbacks. 4 wins in a row. I like it.
Hey, and it took Jared Goff from MVP candidate, because there was talk of him being an MVP earlier in the season, they held him to just 197 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions, and 3 lost fumbles. Sacked 5 times.
That game in Detroit, the game that the game plan Flores came up with, and the way the defense played in that game in Detroit that we won, that we thought they were going to lose by maybe 50 points, because it was right after the Chargers just pasted us. And you look at that performance, and I thought, that was outstanding. It probably can't get any better than that. And Flores and the Vikings defense, they improved. They did much even better, way better than even that performance. Just really, really good stuff against a Detroit offense that has dominated us for 3 seasons. And I know they've got some missing pieces. They don't have Ben Johnson coordinating anymore, but it was just really impressive to see Flores do that to that offense and turn Goff into that quarterback that we saw.
It was.
Yeah. You can't use the excuse, well, they were playing the Commanders.
No.
Detroit's one of the top offenses in the league, and the Vikings kicked them right in the nuts. And I saw Goff smiling on the sidelines before the game. By the 4th quarter, that smile he had on his face slid right down the crack of his ass. He had no
sort
more
of like
smile.
this picture is like, whoa.
No, that's graphic right there.
Hey, the Vikings rallied from 4-8 and went 8-8.
Yeah,
with 4 straight wins. Refusing to quit despite the injuries and despite the offensive woes, whether it be J.J. McCarthy or especially Max Brosmer. They spoiled a rival. Fans gave Smith an ovation.
Yeah.
We had Addison with the longest run of the season for him. And the defense was just lights out. You gotta love this game. Now for next year, if everybody's healthy, you have J.J. McCarthy. Let's see how he goes. Or if we have somebody else traded for, or at least competing with him, we'll see how he develops. There's a lot of stuff he flashed that is so good. And then there's the stupid stuff, but we'll see how they go. If the O-line continues to improve, the only thing I can think of is probably we need a center, without a doubt, and the tackles need to stay healthy. We've got to retain this guy, without a doubt.
That's number 1 over any roster player, the guy you got on the screen. The Vikings will take a big step back. They won't even be a playoff team if Brian Flores isn't here. I'm telling you right now. That's the guy you got to get signed over any player. And I usually don't say that about a coach. This is the guy you got to have.
And let's see if Harrison Smith comes back for more.
Look at
Tomahawk
Rossini.
steaks.
She's all turned on by how he eats that tomahawk. Look at her.
I know. She loved it. It was a heck of a celebration, and you could understand why he's having fun.
Those tomahawks look good, man. Those things are.
Oh,
they had them on every game. Had that. The Netflix earlier game had the tomahawk ending.
It's great for Netflix. It's their deal. You know, it's or the turducken at Thanksgiving. Let's do the tomahawks before you can't do a prime rib. Let's do the tomahawks. Next best thing. So I think it's great. Now I thought it was funny at the end of when they showed that segment and all the meat was gone. They asked, "Does anybody want any vegetables?" And Murphy was like, "No, we don't eat vegetables."
Hell no. Hell no.
And Diana Rossini's sidekick said, "Oh, I'll eat a vegetable." But no, they're football players.
Give the veggies to the reindeer.
Yeah.
Rossini wanted to be that tomahawk. I could tell by the look on her face.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. But, folks, that was the game. The Vikings went out on Thursday, a game they could have laid down for, a game they could have said, we'll put our half-ass effort and work on our draft position. No, they went out and they wanted to play together and they wanted to play to win, and it showed.
And they beat a team who had to win. They were playing for a playoff. Detroit
a Super Bowl contention team at the beginning of the season.
Before that game started, they were in the playoff hunt, right? They had it was a long shot, but they were still in the run for it.
Yeah, but all through the first half of the season, everybody was counting on Detroit to make another run at the Super Bowl.
Right.
We'll see. Bulldog, I'll get into that in theme 3. But that's the end of theme 1. And now it's time to move on to theme 2. Why aren't you? Because I turned it off. There we go. Wait a minute. Sorry, Dave's having technical issues.
It happens.
Being stupid. All right, this week in Vikingsland, all these came from Darren. He wanted to talk about Max Brosmer.
Yeah, I did.
What was
that? University of New Hampshire. The University of New Hampshire.
Yeah,
right, Max Brosmer, just for a background, came from the University of New Hampshire and then went to play one season with the Gophers, and then he was undrafted by the Minnesota Vikings and made the team.
There you go.
And yeah, I did want to talk about him just because he's been one of the interesting stories for the Vikings this year with the quarterback situation, because again, undrafted, was he going to even make the team? We thought best case scenario, he would be a practice squad guy. Then he ends up out playing Brett Rippon, and he ends up making the team as the number 3 guy. And we've heard all kinds of good things. The Vikings, Kevin O'Connell have buffed him up, buttered him up all season about how impressive he is in practices, great processor, smart, picked up the offense really quickly. So there's a lot of encouraging stuff there. And we were like, well, and in the preseason, he looked really sharp. And so the thought was, hey, maybe the Vikings have something here. Not something in that this season he's going to come in and play lights out, but we can develop him slowly, and down the road in 2 or 3 years, maybe he becomes a guy who you can put in games and you can win with. So now he's had 2 starts and they've been really, 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 really bad. And first thing is, we heard the nickname, or at least I did, and I'm sure others here have as well, the talk about, is he going to be the Purple Purdy? Well, you can throw that out the window after what you've seen in these 2 games. The Seattle game, you could chalk that up. Okay, his first game as a starter, he's an undrafted rookie. He's going against one of the best defenses in the NFL, and in one of the toughest places to play. You could kind of say that was an expected performance. But then he gets in against the Giants. He plays not too badly, and they're like, okay, he's got a second start. What can he do there? Well, the results, other than not turning the ball over, were no better. It looked to me like that. I know the Vikings played very conservatively on offense. They called a very conservative game, which is what you would is smart. But it looked to me like anytime he stepped back to pass, it seemed like if the first guy that he was looking at wasn't open, he was lost after that. And then hold the ball too long, then you get sacked or you throw it away, that sort of thing. So, the question out of this is that in those two starts and the second half action in New York Giants, do the Vikings actually have something with Max Brosmer? I would say what those games have shown us is that, again, the Purple Purdy stuff, ridiculous. Like, he is not that guy. And the other thing is that I think that what this has shown is that if you had any thoughts, or the Vikings had any thoughts that Brosmer might be your backup next year to McCarthy, you throw that out the window too, because you cannot have this guy one snap away from starting based on what I've seen in these games. He's just not ready for that yet. As number 3 guy, sure, maybe, but even that, I think there's got to be some competition, and there will be, for his roster spot coming into 2026, because what we have been told about what the Vikings have been seeing in practice and what we saw in preseason did not translate into the games. So I have questions about Brosmer and what his long-term potential is, but is he worth keeping on the roster? I think there's a possibility for that. I think what needed to happen this year, and it didn't happen, was that Brosmer needed to sit and learn and not get in an NFL game at all. And that did not happen because of injuries to the Vikings' other quarterbacks, Wentz and McCarthy. So Brosmer got thrown in there way too early. I hope it doesn't ruin his development. I hope he learns from it. But I think as a backup, you can't go in with him as your backup next year. The Vikings certainly have got to look to a veteran who can challenge McCarthy, and we'll talk about that in a couple of weeks as well. But a lot of promise, a lot of excitement about Brosmer, but when he got into the games, that excitement evaporated quickly, I think. And it does call into question, I think, his ability to keep a roster spot next year with the Vikings. He's going to have an off season, I think, to show that he learned from this and that he can keep progressing as a pro and get to a level where he's a backup that you have confidence in. If you have to put him into a game, but right now, Max Brosmer can't be put in an NFL game. The problem is maybe he will be put into one next week against Green Bay, depending on J.J. McCarthy's progress with his hairline fracture in his right hand.
Very, very true. And if it wasn't for J.J. McCarthy being hurt and Carson Wentz being hurt, we wouldn't have seen Max Brosmer at all this season.
No. And I don't think Max Brosmer, when he made the team, ever expected he'd be on an NFL field playing in anything other than kneel down situations. Not even that.
Preseason games. And then it's like, how well can I hold the clipboard? Should I hold it like this, or should I hold it like this? And stuff like that. And then build up his career that way. And I think he still can be the clipboard guy. But it's going to be interesting to see. Now, Kevin O'Connell said he had full faith in the team. He's earned the team's respect. Okay, yeah. He went out there and he played his heart out for the team. That's going to earn players' respect. Now, respect in whether they want him out or not is a different situation. So it's going to be interesting. He came out with the Elias Opta stats. The only QB in the Super Bowl era to play a game and throw for less than 70 yards and take 7+ sacks in a win. Good for him. That's because of the defense. There's others. Beat writers have come out and said, hey, At least he didn't lose us the game.
Well,
thrown to the wolves too early.
All of that is true, but
future QB2, development QB3 at next.
I only have one thing to add. I only have one thing to say, is that everything that the great Darren Campbell just said, all the words he just came out of his mouth right there, you can bottle that and send it to every network and just play that clip of everything Darren just said, because that is all 100% right.
Yes.
I don't have anything to add to it. That was so perfectly said about Brosmer that you can't, I can't add to it. It's just well done. That's exactly how I feel.
Let's see, as he develops when he gets to year 4 as a rookie, holding the clipboard. How's he look?
Well, and the Vikings should absolutely, and they will. They need to bring along with the veteran that you bring in. You also bring in a developmental guy, a fourth guy, a rookie, and that rookie might show more arm strength, might show more upside than Brosmer does, and Brosmer doesn't even end up being on the team, make the roster next year. He's a practice squad guy or with another team. I don't think Brosmer showed enough if he goes in there and he plays solidly in those 2 games, with all the odds stacked against him, road game in Seattle, and then the patchwork offensive line against the Lions last Thursday, then you're like, hey, look what he did with what he had. But for him to play that abysmally in those 2 starts, like Drew, you and I and Dave could have almost done a lot of those things out there. I can take sacks. I can take 7. I can get sacked 7 times as well.
Well, you can't. Plus, you're not going to be able to judge anything more against the team from Wisconsin's not going to be playing any of their starters. So when he plays next week, it'll be like a preseason game. So he'll look good next week, and everybody will say, "Oh yeah, see." So I don't know.
Well, I don't know if he will, even if they have the junior varsity, and based on what I've seen.
I agree. That guy is a practice squad quarterback at best, scout team. That's what I think.
And let him develop. He may turn into a good backup quarterback. Heck, he's won, 50% of his games?
Does he get
like Kirk Cousins? Oh, wait a minute. That'll get people riled up.
Does the worst tournament.
Do you get credit for the win if you close out the Giants game like he did?
True. I don't know.
Worst thing said in football is a game manager. There's not a phrase I hate more than game manager. It's not true. It's the biggest lie in football. At some point in every football game I've watched for 55 years, the quarterback has to make a clutch throw every game. You can't. There's a 3rd and 12. There's a 3rd and 8. You got to have it. It's not game manager. That's the stupidest thing that people bring. That's the dumbest phrase I've ever heard. Don't you agree, Toonses?
All right. Now on to the next topic. The Pro Bowl.
Oh.
Well, yeah, everybody knows the Vikings didn't get any Pro Bowl selections when they were announced earlier in the week. And it's an historical event because it's only happened 2 other times in the franchise history. They didn't get one selected in 1983, but Grant was almost his first retirement. That began his first retirement, and they didn't do it in Mike Zimmer's first year in 2014 either.
Good knowledge.
So it's a historic event, but the other thing about this is, do we really care? For one reason, that the Vikings didn't get any Pro Bowl selections, because the Pro Bowl thing is a bit of a joke, right? You got the fans voting for it, and then it's part coaches and players in there. And I was talking, I think you were trying to come up with extra categories, Dave, but I said, here's the categories for making the Pro Bowl now. You have to be a guy who's having a very good year on a team that's in the playoffs, or you got to be a veteran who has the reputation for being great. Even if you're not playing great that season, you're going to get the nods for popularity and just
a pop star.
Yeah, that's right. You're going to get that off your reputation, and then also if you play for the Cowboys.
Well, I'll get into this. All right, we obviously had Will Reichard, who is the best kicker in the NFC.
Who got the kicker thing? Who could think Aubrey get that?
Brandon Aubrey got it. Yeah.
He got it before we played Dallas, and he missed those two 2 or 3 kicks, and it's just he got it.
I guess it could have gone either way, but I'm a Reichard
Because
fan,
everybody in the press is like, "Oh my God, Aubrey's hit a 60-something yarder. When is Aubrey going to hit a 70-yarder? He's almost money." Blah 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 blah. Right? That's why I got it.
But when it comes to the Pro
Ryan,
Bowl, yes,
our punter,
I think
one of the best punters in the league. I think he led the league. And,
I don't look at the rosters of the Pro Bowl. Who got the punter? Who's a better punter than Ryan?
I have no idea. I didn't even look. I'd have to look.
Reggie Roby?
But it wasn't.
Did Reggie Roby get it? Reggie Roby?
But it wasn't Ryan Wright. And then, of course, Andrew DiPaolo. Andrew DiPaolo's been 3 times in a row. Nothing.
Yeah.
And then you could say starts Jalen Redmond.
Yeah, what about Redmond, man? Come on.
He was, kick-ass. And if you want to go on reputation, Justin Jefferson.
Who we need to get 53 yards next week. That's what the game's all about.
Yes, we do. And that will be
all that matters. That's all that matters next week is getting that guy 53.
Right.
That's what matters.
But in the present Pro Bowl system, it's a tripartite system. There's 3 sections that vote: fan base, coaches, and players. Right?
And Taylor Swift.
Well, she, obviously says vote for Kelsey. He's my boy. Well,
look at that.
When you come to fan base, I know you can't read that. It's too
small.
That
looks like a picture of your liver.
Yeah, it very well could be. But it's fan base sizes is what this is. And it's as of 2025, Hyper's set group did this. And it shows the sizes. The wedges are the biggest teams. The blue wedge, obviously, is the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Even though they suck. And, and then it goes on down. I can't even read it at this. But you have the Chiefs, Cowboys, Steelers, Eagles are your 4 top fan bases, size-wise. And the Cowboys are at 7-point-something%. The Vikings I highlighted in yellow.
Oh.
They're in the bottom third. And if you got fans voting, you've already got a mismatch. So Dallas Cowboy players are going to get it. Like their kicker over our kicker.
Yeah.
And like we talked about, you get who's the boyfriend of Taylor Swift?
Who knows? She could have quite a few of them, probably. I'm not sure.
I know. Or I should say, who's Taylor Swift's fiance?
Okay.
And it's Travis Kelce. And you have all that story. The question whether is he going to retire after this year?
Pro Bowl's
but it's stupid. And then when you get the players voting, they're voting for their buddies and their teammates. Right. And then the coaches, when they vote, they're politically motivated to vote for their teams, or if they can, or, guys they play. They don't watch everything. So there's some proposed reforms being discussed because we all know the system is broken. Even if they are just doing, skills competition, flag football, and this and that, and blah, blah, blah. One of the things is reduce or eliminate fan voting. Well, I don't want to eliminate it because fans do have a say. They watch and say, hey, this guy's good. They should have a right to vote.
Is baseball, I don't follow baseball, but is that all fan voting? Is that how they do their All-Star game, Darren?
I don't know how they do there.
I believe it is. Yes.
Okay. I was just wondering offhand.
But
if it isn't 100%, it's a significant percentage of that plays into the selection for sure. The fans' votes do matter a lot.
As Clifford says, popularity contest.
He's absolutely right. Clifford's right.
You've got reduce the fan voting, more player, coach, expert input, possibly. incorporate analytics, whether it be PFF or next gen stats, some sort of deal. Oops. Come on. There we go. I'll cover my own slide. Cap fan voting to 1 vote per fan, i.e., you've got 1 ballot. You can fill out, all the teams, all the players, that's fine, but you can only do it once. Because now if you get somebody that's like, oh, I'm a Taylor Swift fan, so I'm going to set up these 5,000 iPhones and have them all vote for Travis Kelce. Which they could do. They could cheat.
They should just have the players vote for each other. I mean, the players know each other. They know how good guys are. Let the players kind of decide who. No,
not always. They'll tend to vote for their buddies or the players know, not the whole league.
But I trust that group more than I trust what you just said. A bunch of TikTok
the fans and being able to cheat the system. Yes, I agree. Separate fan favorites for skills events from official roster. Who would you like to see throwing? Who could throw, targets? Hey, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen. Let's them throw at the targets that are moving and 60 yards downfield. Let's see who hits them, right? That'd be cool. But have them compete like the way they used to in the old, when they had the competition. Drew, you and I remember this when they ran on the sand and they did all this stuff. Yeah. And that stopped as soon as somebody popped their Achilles or whatever it was.
Right. I remember all that stuff. Yeah.
Decouple from contracts. We ask, why does, I made a comment somewhere on, I want to say it was in the Gallahorn, that when nobody got a Pro Bowl, that means the Vikings save money.
Yeah,
because
there's all kinds of
players
incentives, to make the Pro Bowl.
Incentives in their contract. And it's just like, should it be? Back in the olden days of Drew and I, it meant a big deal to make the Pro Bowl.
It not only meant a big deal. I remember watching that game. That was an exciting game to watch because those guys were knocking the shit out of each other. Back in the 70s, the Pro Bowl, they came to play. That was a game from the beginning to the end, and I enjoyed all of them. I haven't watched in probably 30 years or something, but back in the day, man, those guys got after it. They got after it when they were playing in the early 70s. It was like they take the NFL players and play like the college guys, all-stars. It was kind of an interesting. Tony Bell has a lot of in knowledge about all that stuff, but between the NFL and the college
machine, I need to have him on here for a show.
But it definitely was a lot. They took it a lot more seriously than they do. I think they should just get rid of the Pro Bowl altogether. Just name an all-pro team. That's. I know. Get off my.
That's what the AP does now.
Get off my lawn. I know I'm an old man and everything, but I don't see any redeeming factors, Darren, in the Pro Bowl at all anymore.
But it's another. Hey. It's another weekend of NFL on the TV. And they have the flag.
Is it?
They now have the flag football, which is fine.
Oh, yeah.
They have the quarterbacks throwing at targets, which is fine. Hey, get the linemen lifting weights or something.
I'd rather watch those female lingerie football. I'll watch that.
I agree with you, Drew, but... the NFL is trying to make its money. It might go broke someday, so it needs to make its money.
$32 billion last year. They don't need to make any. Come on.
But they want to entertain and they want to own the entire year. Now,
I know.
Another proposal is a hybrid setup where you have experts and committee that does the oversights and says, no. You have the best kicker in the NFC in Will Reichard. He should be in the Pro Bowl and put him in. Sort of deal. But we'll see. But we got a big goose egg this year, and hopefully it motivates people for next year.
Well, yeah, and I don't think there was a lot of Vikings this year, other than Will Reichard specifically. There weren't a lot of Vikings this year that made a strong case to make the Pro Bowl.
Ryan Wright led in, I think, hang time, average steps.
The All Pro
the whole
is more of a legitimate indication of who are actually the best players at their positions. So it'll be interesting to see on when that list comes out, if there's any Vikings that make it like Will Reichard. Like you said, Dave, earlier, Brandon Aubrey, a great kicker. Did he have a better year than Will Reichard this year? No, he did not. But the Cowboys are on national TV all the time. And Chris Collinsworth and Tony Romo and Tom Brady are talking about, marveling about, oh man, I saw him kick from 70. So even though he's missed more kicks this year than Will Reichard hasn't made as many 50-plus yarders as Will Reichard has. I mean, that reputation is there, right? So,
and for those of you who don't believe in the football gods, like me and Dave Stefano do, Aubrey against Reichard. What was his worst game? Aubrey's worst game against
the Vikings.
That's
a football god saying you chose the wrong damn guy. We're gonna have him miss a couple of games. There you go. It's truthful. It's all real, man.
Now let's go on to the third topic of this week in Vikings land, and this is gonna be a long show. Jalen Nailor.
Yes, want to talk about him too. I just want to. Lorenzo writes, asked if Kyler Murray is a free agent or not. He isn't, unless the Cardinals. He's under contract. Unless the Cardinals release him in March, then he will be a free agent. But right now, if you wanted Kyler Murray, you'd have to trade him to get him at this point in time. But Jalen Nailor. Murray's a discussion maybe for a future show. But Jalen Nailor, I wanted to bring him up because this is a bit preempting our wide receiver. Look at the wide receivers in a few weeks. But I've seen lots of discussion about, particularly when Nailor had a pretty good game like 3 weeks ago. I believe it was against the Cowboys, and the talk about him or Addison, bring him back or not bring him back. We know Jalen Nailor is a free agent at the end of this season. The assumption has been that that the Vikings would not be able to afford to keep him and that he'd be gone at the end of the season. But the way things have gone along this year, and Nailor's going to end up with a similar year statistically wise as last year, but with much poorer quarterback play that he's dealt with to get to that situation and we've lots of talk this year about how good of a year that Nailor's really had, even though the stats don't look that great because of the quarterback situation. He's regularly wins on his routes. He's open a lot like Justin Jefferson, but just isn't getting the ball. And how valuable is he to bring back? The discussion has really been, I think, about how there's a camp that are saying Addison's going to be too expensive to retain in a couple of years. He's had off the field issues. It's time to trade him and get a second rounder or the best you can for it and re-sign Nailor because he's going to be cheaper and he can give you similar production. That is the argument. I don't know about that. I think if Jalen Nailor were better than Jordan Addison, he'd be the number 2 guy, not Jordan Addison. He'd be the guy getting the kind of stats that Addison is, and he isn't. Do I think he's a decent, good, solid wide receiver? Yes. Do I think that he's going to want to come back to Minnesota with the way the quarterback situation is right now, and plus also the opportunity that would be presented to him if he came back? I don't think so. But
you got to admit that he's had a connection with J.J. McCarthy.
At times, he's also gone 2 straight games without catching a football, and McCarthy was playing for half of that. But that's mostly on the quarterback play. I find it. I would be really nervous. I know it sounds good to trade Jordan Addison and get a second rounder and then do what you do with it, but I think really the Vikings' plan here and really the way that they should go is. You try to see what it would take to bring back Jalen Nailor. Is it reasonable? Then you make a pitch to him. But I think Drew's not going to like this, but the Vikings had a plan. They drafted Ty Felton, I think, as last year in the third round, and the idea was that this year it'd be a development year. He wouldn't play very much, but he'd build his route tree, work with Keenan McCardell, and then in year 2, he's ready to assume a larger role in the offense, potentially your number 3 wide receiver. And I think that's the route that the Vikings are going to go with here. And Naylor's going to find a little bit more money and a little bit more years on some other team. And the Vikings aren't going to be willing to trade Jordan Addison for a second round or whatever, because they know that he's a pretty important player to the offense.
Why wouldn't I like that Ty Felton thing? Why wouldn't I like that?
Because I think that I think I heard you in the past say that that they shouldn't have drafted him in the 3rd round.
No. That was Anthony Tollison. That wasn't me. Let's get that straightened out. I was all about Felton.
Friend of the show, Anthony Tollison, and hopefully he's doing all right. I don't see him in the remarks.
I have always been a Felton fan.
Well, I apologize for getting that wrong.
Don't mix my stuff up with that guy, whatever you do.
Anthony's usually in the comments, and I'm surprised he's not today.
So, yeah, I think what you just said is how it's going to go, Darren. I got my own take on Naylor. I got a little tasty tidbit I'm going to throw at you.
Well, that's good because, I just, for me, I'd be pretty nervous about not really on board with the trade Addison, re-sign Naylor, and have him as your number 2 wide receiver. I like Naylor. I think he's a solid guy, but is he a guy who could catch 60 or 70 or 80 passes and be a good 1B to Justin Jefferson's 1A? Not too sure about that.
Here's the scenario I see playing out, and correct me if I'm way off base here, but I kind of see this happening. George Pickens is going to get so much money. He's going to be swimming in cash. He's a free agent. He wants to be a number 1 somewhere. Pickens he doesn't want to sit behind Lamb. He's proven that he's a number 1 receiver in this league. He's going to get a shit ton of money in this offseason.
Yeah, he wants to play. That's the only
Pickens is going to leave. Pickens is going to leave. Dallas is going to throw a bunch of money to get Naylor to take his spot. I think that's how I see something that happening. And then he's gone. Then we got Addison, Felton moving up, and I think we even drafted another guy. But I see that little scenario with the Cowboys with Pickens and Naylor going to the Cowboys because they love to throw money at somebody like Naylor. That's their kind of guy right there.
We'll mark this episode for when it happens.
Mark the episode. That's what I think is going to happen.
Interesting. Clifford was just saying that Addison leads the league in drop percentage as off the field issues. I don't know if I'll take Clifford's word for it on the drop percentage. We know he's dropped a shit ton of balls this year than he normally catches. But I think with Jordan Addison is that drop percentage is something that has happened this year. It wasn't in evidence in his second season or his rookie season. So is this just a 1-year thing because of the quarterback situation? I think that hands have never been Jordan Addison's issue up until this year. And with the amount of big plays he makes, I'm guessing with better quarterback play next year, he has a bounce back year and he becomes a significant reason why the Vikings offense is much better in 2026 than it's been this year.
And remember,
JJ, whenever you have a question about a player, sorry, Dave. Whenever you have a question about a player, just do the flag football method. You're picking teams for flag football. Naylor and Addison are standing there. Who you taking on your team?
Addison.
Solved.
Right. Easy. And early in the season, JJ was banging it with Addison.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So, but again, we'll get into this in the wide receivers stuff again, but in a couple of weeks.
These two guys say that they like him. Cool. That's fine. I'm sure they like Ty Felton too.
Well, I've never heard Kevin O'Connell ever say that he didn't like any guy that's currently on the Vikings roster. So,
which is true.
That's true.
Justin adds, pay Naylor. Should he want to stay on a friendly deal? If he wants to stay on a friendly deal, like $3 or $4 million,
he can get more from another team. Somebody else is going to pay him more money. The problem is he could probably get
$7 to $9 or $10 million from another team.
Yes, he can.
Well, what did Tutu Atwell get last year from the Rams? I think it was like $10 million. He's on a 1-year deal or something. I think he got $10 million. He's, number 3 wide receiver last year for the Rams, who had a pretty decent year, became a free agent.
You could say the Vikings are going to get Naylor back, Dave, if they can get him back cheap. It's not going to be cheap because somebody's going to pay him more than the Vikings are going to pay.
Exactly.
And he's going to leave. That's what football is. You want to give me more money? You want to give me more money? I'm sorry, I'm going to leave. That's what they do. I mean, the guys got to look out for their family and themselves and their career. You're not going to stay here for a discount. Nobody does that anymore. So there's a team that wants to pay that guy, and I think it's the Cowboys because Jerry Jones pays before he thinks.
And you just watched Naylor catch 2 touchdowns against them.
That's a great point right there. I didn't even add that into my arsenal. I should have said that to prove my point. But I don't know where he's going to go. But the Vikings aren't going to be getting a bidding war for Jalen Naylor. They're not.
No.
What is so funny? What am I missing? Is somebody talking about my mother again?
No, T-Bias's comment of the day. Kevin O'Connell is like Jesus. He loves everyone. Everyone in purple. Yes, he does.
Like the favorite guy on the team is the guy who holds the clipboard. So Max Brosmer could be clipboard Jesus.
Yes.
I mean, everybody loves clipboard Jesus.
Well, that ends this week in Vikingsland. And we move on to theme what?
I don't know,
3.
we're on 10 or something, aren't we? 10?
Hey, it's been a long show, but hey, I apologize. People have more than one device to watch football on while they listen to us, I'm sure. I do it at least.
Oh.
All right. This one is an important one. Yep. This one is the one Drew wanted to talk about. This one is about Brian Flores. Why we should keep him.
It's the biggest offseason question for the Vikings. More than McCarthy, more than any player you want to talk about, we need to retain this guy. Make him assistant head coach. Give him a bunch of money. Keep him here. He's going to be a big part of whether we, like I said, if you don't have him, you're not going to sniff the playoffs. He's been carrying this team. If anybody wants to argue with me about that, for the last 2 years, his biggest voter to keep him here has got to be Kevin O'Connell because he saves his ass almost weekly. Yeah. He does. He's been a great help to Kevin O'Connell. And I think Flores, I mean, we all know, does he deserve it? That's not even an argument. Of course he deserves it. I think you up his status a little more. Make him assistant head coach. I don't care what O'Connell thinks because he's a better head coach than O'Connell is anyway. So make him that, give him a bunch of money, keep him here, let him run the defense, let him have more say on the team. When guys make mistakes, they're going to worry a lot more about Flores, and Kevin O'Connell's kumbaya. I love everybody. They're not worried about him.
All right. A little bit of background.
It's big. You can talk about this lawsuit and all this stuff. I'm just saying this is the number one thing, Darren, that this team has. The number one thing. You can't put anything above getting this guy back. More than the draft, more than free agency, more than your quarterback situation. You have to get Brian Flores on this team for next year, or it's going to be such a step back. It's going to cripple them. Go ahead. Take it from there. That's my say.
Well, a little bit of background. For those that don't know and are just joining us today, Brian Flores was the head coach of the Miami Dolphins back in 2019 and 2021. He was supposedly a little hard on Tua as his quarterback. And as people know, Tua was benched this week because he's bad. Not to mention all the concussions and all that issue. But anyway. And then he went on to be an assistant over at Pittsburgh before he came to us in 2023. And with that, Flores has taken the Minnesota Vikings defense and melded it into what he views a defense should work. It's a 3-4 base, but that's loosely speaking. He believes in deception, and he'll put 7 or 9 guys on the line all the time because he likes screwing with opposing quarterbacks' heads. Why? Because it works. And opposing teams haven't seen it. They don't know how to deal with it. Ask Jared Goff from our earlier segment. He had him torn up inside. And it's just crazy. He pitched an absolute masterpiece and has built that masterpiece throughout this season. And here I've got it from the first Detroit game. He just caused everybody to go, apoplectic. Yeah, that's like, sounds like a
Sackles.
Yes, like Sackles, very much so. Apoplectic. All right. I can talk. Yes, I can talk. I took a hit to my head on Christmas Day when I ran into the wall, but I can talk.
Yeah, the dog knocked him down the stairs. It was on the news. I saw it. Tragic fall, Dave.
Yes, it was. My back still hurts, but that's what the whiskey's for. But Brian Flores has absolutely built an elite defense this year. When the offense has, dare I say, sucked under Kevin O'Connell. Yes, he's dealt with a lot of injuries. O-line, quarterbacks, everybody else. Brian Flores, who's also dealt with injuries on the defensive side, has kept it together. You want to know what a masterpiece Brian Flores has turned in this year? We're top 10 in points allowed. We're 5th in yards allowed. We're 1st in against red zone TDs. We're 5th in third down percentage. We're top 10 in yards per pass with our defense, with the lack of corners who've been hurt or been missing. We're 6th in DVOA, 5th if you want to take their adjusted by components or by opponents. And we're top 5 per PFF, Next Gen Stats, Football Outsiders, however you want to look at it. No single Pro Bowler on this team, even though last year he had Byron Murphy, Harrison Smith. Well, did Harrison make it last year? I'm trying to remember.
No, he did not.
Okay. Should have.
But Grenard did, but Van Ginkel
Grenard,
did,
Van Ginkel, Byron Murphy. I know I had slides for him, but I can't find them. Anyways.
He destroyed the Lions without Metellus, too. He didn't even have John Metellus.
Without Metellus. Dealing with injuries, aggressive screams. How he used Metellus.
He gets the best out of his players. He gets the best out of them. He knows, he sees talent. Metellus was going nowhere, and he came into the Vikings, Flores, and said, "You're not being used right. This is what we're going to do with you." That's how you know you got a good. That's what you need in a good coach, not a kumbaya word salad guy. You need somebody who's going to actually make a difference.
What was Metellus doing before Flores?
Probably a lot of
special teams. That was it.
Oh yeah. Look at the difference of Metellus. How he turned his career around. That's a coach,
right?
Man.
There's the story of he called him in his office and goes, "I envision you doing this, this, and this." And Metellus going, "Oh, cool. I can do that." As he's looking at B-Flow's whiteboard.
Look at the development of Dallas Turner, what he's doing with him.
Exactly, Drew. Exactly.
You put another defensive coordinator in here. Van Ginkel's not going to play the way he does. He's not. He knows how to get the guys in the right positions that know how to do the right role.
Robert, does Dave need to go to concussion? Yes, I probably should.
Robert also asked how the wall was.
There's a nice hole, literally about the size of my head and my shoulder.
He was carrying his breakfast. And
I'll post the picture. I'll post the picture and posts on
dog
YouTube
took
after
his
this.
legs out from under him. It looked like Robert Griffith, how Robert Griffith used to roll guys in the secondary. He looked like Robert Griffith. Dave lost all of his breakfast stuff, and before he could say ow, the dog ate the whole breakfast off the floor.
Yes, yes, he did. And by dog, I mean a Great Dane. So it was a good-sized dog.
Basically the size of a T-Rex.
It was Dave, it was a textbook tackle. I mean, it was a great tackle.
It was. But believe it or not, I am so coordinated and beautiful at my fall. I did not set off my Apple Watch or my cell phone for a fall alert.
That is athleticism at its best right there.
It's got to be.
I mean,
now,
come on.
But Brian Flores is being considered the mad scientist. We heard that this weekend. We've heard it on Thursday. We've heard it before. His results are chaos, turnovers, dictation to the offense. I love how he makes the offense react to him versus reacting to the offense. And that's for them. You want to take a reason to re-sign this man? That's the number one.
Yes.
How many defensive coordinators in the league do that?
I
it's
would
less
say
than a handful.
Maybe Fangio, maybe the guy in Kansas City.
Maybe.
Snodgrass, what's his name?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's very, very few. And
You can't lose him. Darren, I want your take on this Brian Flores situation.
Well, it's no different than your guys's or anybody else's. And we've talked about this in previous shows about a month ago about what was going to happen with Flores, because we knew that he didn't have a contract after this season was over. So he's going to be a free agent. It's been mentioned in the comments section a couple of times already. I don't know if you guys saw it. Pro Football Talk, Mike Florio mentioned yesterday that a source confirmed to him that the Vikings are trying to get Flores signed, extended, which they tried to get it done at the beginning of the season. And Flores says, no, I'm going to wait my time. That says proved to be probably a pretty wise decision by Flores, because now he has all the leverage with the way this defense is playing. Absolutely, you got to get him signed. Question is, does Flores want to sign? He wants to be a head coach. We know that. I don't think he's going to get to be a head coach, but
let him be head coach here.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
I know, but if that's what he wanted, then I give it to him.
But absolutely,
you would.
Absolutely, the Vikings should pay him. Like we talked about. Maybe you can't pay him as much as Kevin O'Connell, because O'Connell's not going to like that. But pay him something pretty close. Giving him the assistant head coach designation is easy. Mike Pettin already has it on our staff, so there's no reason why they can't give it to Flores. But what options is Flores going to have to be a head coach? I think if Flores is listening seriously to the Vikings looking to extend him, it's because he's asked around. Flores must have a lot of connections in this league. He must be asking around to different people on different teams. Hey, what are you hearing? Are the owners talking me up because of the job I've done with this defense this year? What are you hearing about them in the lawsuit and how that's impacting me? If he's hearing that sorry, Brian, Flo, there's no way that anybody is going to touch you as a head coach with the lawsuit still ongoing. We know he's not going to give that up. But if he also is hearing the scuttlebutt that head coaching is not going to be in the cards this offseason, then that's why he would entertain an extension with the Vikings. Sure, there are other options. The Cowboys would be an option. There's a few other teams that would be an option. But we know he likes it in Minnesota. He likes his family likes it there. We know that he and Kevin O'Connell get along well. And we know that this defense, like you said, Drew and Dave, this defense, the players that are on this defense right now are guys that he's handpicked. And so he's got the defense he wants. He's going to add some stuff. If he can't be a head coach, then the Vikings need to do everything possible to get him re-signed. And I think that Flores would come back. If he's given a raise, given an adjustment in his title and be made assistant head coach. And just because of the fact that he likes the situation there. He likes the players that he has. He's seen what he's done in the previous 3 years with this defense. He thinks there's more that they can do. I think the Brian Flores, if he's not a head coach, is back as defensive coordinator with the Vikings. And you're right, it's got to happen, because who is the successor to Brian Flores if he does go? I don't see anybody obvious on our staff. Pettin is a former defensive coordinator and head coach. Yeah, but Durante Jones has been mentioned in the past because he's got a pretty good reputation as a secondary coach, but he would be untested as a pro defensive coordinator. I can't see anybody coming in here having the impact Flores has had.
Can I throw one thing out there real quick? If you make him assistant head coach, let me tell you something. If this McCarthy thing goes down the drain, and we don't know how it's going to work out, if it slithers down the drain all the way in the toilet, or whatever you want to say, and Kwesi messes up another draft, the only person that's going to survive the nuclear fallout will be Brian Flores. He's going to be the guy that's going to be the new head coach, and everybody else is getting fired. That's what, if you want to look at it down the road. If the McCarthy thing really goes off the rails and fails, I don't see how KOC and Kwesi keep their jobs. I don't know. I know that's far-fetched. It's way down the road, and we don't want to get that far ahead, but that's why that's another reason, Darren, you keep Flores around. Give him that title. Because there's your next head coach. There he is.
In any of those things, of course, like the old saying, it takes two to tango, right? So I'm sure the Vikings are going to do all they can within reason to bring him back. It all comes down to head coaching availability, opportunity for Flores, because we know he wants to be one. And the other thing is, does he want to, if he can't get head coach, does he want to come back to Minnesota if there's just as lucrative an offer in Dallas or somewhere else where he thinks he can do just as well and turn around a defense and get all kinds of laurels and praise for doing so?
Right.
Now, we discussed earlier, and I said I'd get to it. How much does he mean to us? In 2025, we talked about late season dominance. Weeks 11 through 17. He has held every single opponent below their season average points per game. Every single one. 11 through 17. That's what? 7 games? Okay. People said, well, that's just weeks 11 through 17. What took him so long to going? Well, he also held them in week 1, week 3, week 4, and week 9. By my math, that's 11 of 16 games. He held the opponents to below their average of scoring. Now, what does below their average mean? Well, it depends on the team we're playing. For Detroit, that could be quite a few points. For Green Bay, that could be quite a few points. For Detroit, for Chicago, that could actually be quite a few points.
11 out of 16. It's the NFL. It's the NFL. They're all good. That's a good stat. You can't really make that stat by a competition. Every team in the NFL, it's a passing league now. So to do that, 11 out of 17 or whatever, it's almost complete.
11 out of 16 games we've played so far.
Yeah, we're not
11 out of 16. Yeah. He's done his job.
There was a stat I saw. It was in The Athletic very early in the season, Dave. I shared it with you where they compared Kevin O'Connell's offense and Brian Flores' defense and expected points added, which is one of these analytical stats. And it showed that since Brian Flores had been defensive coordinator in Minnesota since 2023, the Vikings defense had added, its EPA was higher than the Kevin O'Connell's offense the vast majority of the games. Wow. And I'm sure, and that was before this run in the midseason that this defense has gone on, this heater that it has gone on. So that has continued in 2025.
Yeah, in the last third of the season. Yeah.
That is great information right there. Great info.
The Vikings defense, according to EPA stat, is has outperformed the Kevin O'Connell offense most of the time in Flores' time here. So, who's the better coach? That kind of bolsters your argument.
Al says 11 or 16 with a bad offense. Yes.
The bottom line is the window of the defense is open to win a championship. And when the window's open, you got to jump through it, man. You got to figure something out.
Exactly. Because defenses win championships. We all know that. Offenses get you there. Defenses win it. We have the defense to win it.
Yes, we do.
We need to put together the offense as a whole to get us there. And that has failed so far.
This year, the putting together the offense is going to be largely dependent on quarterback play. J.J. McCarthy or whoever is the veteran they bring in next year to compete with J.J. McCarthy. If you get pretty good quarterback play and this defense returns to this kind of level, keeping in mind things never stay the same from one year to the next. There's always changes and ups and downs in production and how good an offense or defense is. And a defense, I think, has been shown to be a bit more unpredictable in that than the offense. But hey, they're like I said,
Darren, I think the window we're all talking about is only open with Flores, though. I'm telling you, that's why that.
No, I would not expect the next coordinator to come in and produce the kind of defense that we've seen Flores with this team.
Right.
That's because that's how much I believe in Brian Flores as a defensive coordinator, as a coach, and how good he is. Like you said,
how he can select Josh Metellus and say, "Hey, you're a special teamer, but I envision you doing this as the Joker," and suddenly he stars.
Right. That's not easy to do.
How he takes Jalen Redmond, a guy from the UFL, and says, "No, dude, you can start over here." And he becomes a pass rushing maven. It's just, I don't see anybody else that's being able to do that. Now, people say, but Dave, he could be hired as a head coach. He wants to be a head coach. Well, first off, I'd love for him to be a head coach in Minnesota, but that's not going to happen because we have Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, and the Wilfs are going to keep those two in control. Sorry, but that's what it is.
No, it's not even turning the players around and noticing talent player-wise, Dave and Darren, is one thing, but look at the scheme he runs. Not a lot of coordinators have the ball bag to run a scheme like that, to run a high pressure, high blitzing, high pressure from all areas.
When have you seen that before?
Safeties at the line, pulling back in a cover two. Corners going from corner to the line. Everybody's, look at all the pre-snap movement and all that shit. He has it's not just the players certainly are talented, but you have to be a player to play within that kind of defense. That's where it all comes together. That's what you're seeing right now. You got Grenard, Grenard was hurt, but all the guys, you want to name them one by one, they play. You could bring in a different coordinator with the same talent. You're not going to get that much out of them because it's the scheme they're running with the talent. It's a good combination, and it works right now. And that's why you have to keep him in here, because these guys already know it. You don't want to have to go back to the blackboard and learn something new. I mean, you got a defense. Keep the defense. He shouldn't be in that office more than 5 minutes before you get that deal done. Come on.
Well, as reported by Mike Florio, they're working on a deal. Now, hopefully that deal includes an upgrade to assistant head coach.
Didn't Florio say trade Jefferson, or Jefferson was going to leave or something?
Well, he says lots of things.
Florio says lots of things.
Matt Stafford's going to be on the Vikings. I remember that one.
Yeah. Florio is driving his media network and NBC, so he says a lot of stuff.
But if Flores is going to be defensive coordinator, it's because he sees no hope in him getting even a head coach, a legit head coach interview once the season is over.
Now, which is possible because of the lawsuit. And for those that don't know, he's suing the league, and in particular, let me find in my notes, 3 teams.
Has he had any interviews the last couple of years?
Yeah,
he did last year. Yeah, he did last year. Yeah.
Okay.
He had two. I believe he interviewed for the Jets job and the Bears job, I believe. For sure, the Jets job.
Before he said, to heck with it, this is a joke. But he's suing the Giants specifically. He's suing the league, the NFL as a whole, the Giants, the Broncos, and the Texans. Now, it's
so that cross the Giants off that list then, right? And cross them off.
I would think so, because you hear a lot of Giants fans saying, hey, we'd love to have him. Well,
sure.
Well, one of the people that are fighting him is Mara, their owner.
Then he's not going to New York. He will not go.
He's not going to go to New York.
Which is that's a good thing.
Now, the courts have said that this can go to court. Now, we're seeing if it comes. I read where it's April, May, March, somewhere in there, that it will go that way, but the NFL is appealing it and possibly up to the Supreme Court, believe it or not, because they want to protect themselves. There's no specific trial date, so we'll find out. It's uncomfortable for team owners, obviously. It's going to take some owner saying, no, I don't care. I'm going to hire him because he's that good. I believe he's that good. And all the other owners who can 31 against the 1 could say, you're done. Sell the team. Happened in Washington. It's happened before that. Because this is a group of 32 owners, they can do that. So it's interesting to see how all this works out. Will he be a head coach? Does he deserve to be a head coach? Yes. Does he deserve to be a head coach for the Minnesota Vikings? I think yes. Will he be? No. I doubt that. It's going to take all this working through. But in the meantime, versus him going to Dallas, which is supposedly the big lead on this, is, Jerry Jones is going to go say, yeah, come down here. We'll make you defensive coordinator and assistant head coach. Yeah, come down here.
I don't think he leaves for another defensive coordinator job. I don't. I think the only way he leaves is for a head coaching job. That's kind of how I feel about it, because he likes it. He likes the players he's built here. He has built something, and he doesn't want to go start having to build that all over for some high-pressure bullshit Dallas Cowboy thing where they're always in the media. And I don't see him. I see him leaving to be a good
offense. They just need the defense tweaked.
And that's just my personal feeling. I don't think he's going to take a defensive coordinator job with anybody. I think if it comes to that, he's going to stay. I think the only way he's going to leave is a head coaching job. That's just me. That's how I feel about it.
We'll see. I hope so, but I hope the Minnesota Vikings. There was discussion that he did not get the control over draft prospects that that Kevin O'Connell did on his extension, and that's why he was sort of perturbed. Well, give him that. Make him the assistant head.
Brian
and
Flores knows
hiccups. Damn it.
Brian Flores knows 100 times more football than Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah and Kevin O'Connell combined. He does. Give him the right to pick draft. I mean, that's ridiculous. Those guys don't know football like Brian Flores. Brian Flores should be hand-picking the whole draft. I mean, come on. Those guys don't. It's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Not to give him control over the. Come on, man.
But.
Well, that was part of the rumor mill. We don't actually know who has what the
control. Yeah.
When Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah signed his extension, I believe Kevin Seifert pointed out that with the Kevin O'Connell extension and Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah's extension, no change had been made in like the personnel department and how things are picked. Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah was still in charge of procuring the players, but we've also know that they talk about collaboration all the time. So I don't think it's an issue. It's an issue where Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah is calling down the hammer on every selection they make, every free agent that they get signed. I think there's a lot of talk between Flores, Kevin O'Connell, Wes Phillips, all those guys about, okay, who do you see fitting into the scheme? Who do you like? Would that work if we signed him? How much should we assign him for? I think and then everybody has their say, and they come to a consensus on, yeah, I can live with that, or no, I can't. And yes, we're going to draft that player or sign that player or not. I don't think that I don't think, and it's just my opinion, of course, that Flores is being is disenchanted with the way that they're going about getting guys for his defense.
Right, because it'd be foolish not to pick that guy's brain about a draft pick. I mean, come on.
Well, and he was a former NFL scout, right? He started in the league as a scout, so he knows how to ID players. We have seen that with how he's said, I want Cashman in here. I got to have Andrew Van Ginkel in here. They're going to fit my defense. It has worked. I saw some mention about Nashon Wright and how we should have kept him. Well, whatever. You're not going to be right on every player evaluation that you make. There's going to be some guys you're going to let go or weren't maybe used to their full potential or didn't click with the system that you're in. That happens on every team for every coach. They miss on some guys. But you look at the guys that he's brought in, for the most part, they have performed here with this defense. I don't have an issue with Brian Flores and him identifying talent. He can identify talent, and he can get the most out of most of that talent.
Right.
Without doubt. So we come down to, we've got to re-sign this man.
Yes.
Hopefully it's a no-brainer, but you got to get the guy. Brian Flores is the guy that signs the contract. So if he wants to do it, it'll be done, because I'm sure, because there's no salary cap on coaches, so the Vikings can pay him quite a bit of money if they want to. And with the Cowboys and people saying that Jerry Jones can throw a bunch of money at Flores, he can, but I can't imagine that Brian Schottenheimer is making more than Kevin O'Connell as a head coach, and I can't imagine that Jerry Jones is going to pay Brian Flores more than his head coach Brian Schottenheimer. So, he can outspend, the Wills can outspend Jerry Jones to retain Brian Flores as a defensive coordinator if they want to.
Now,
Vikings will mess it up. They'll end up, Flores will leave. We'll get Sharon Moore from Michigan.
Yeah.
Then everybody's going to be scared, especially the cheerleaders.
Now, I looked at speaking of paying, I looked at the numbers. Supposedly KOC is going to make a $13 million per year AAV on average. Okay, cool. As a head coach. And he's supposedly about 10th on the list of head coaches to get that. What would it take? The top DCs, defensive coordinators, make about $4.5 million per year for Vic Fangio.
Vic Fangio and Spagnuolo are probably up there.
And Spagnuolo, yep, are the two tops. But if you throw in that assistant head coach, then you could crank it up. And what it might take is a 3-year, $27 million.
What does Flores make right now? What is how much?
It's got to be less than $3 million a year, I would think, or right around $3 million a year.
Come on. It's chump change. You got to bump him up, man. Come on.
Yes, and for coaches, it doesn't count against the salary cap. So, hey, spend Mark and Ziggy's money. Go ahead.
If KOC is worth 13, Brian Flores is worth 12.5. If that's how you want to look at it.
Northvia says, long show today. Drew must be full of wind, and his mom's old boyfriend is Neil Diamond.
Yeah, my mom dated Neil Diamond. What am I going to say?
Hey,
she was a groupie. I love you, Mom.
Whereas my mom dated.
I got Neil Diamond stories. Believe me.
The tequila.
Tequila.
No, the guy that sang the hurricane is coming all the time.
What?
I know. Dave's lost it.
That song, Tequila?
No.
Tequila.
The hurricane's coming, blah, blah, blah. Margaritaville.
Jimmy Buffett?
Jimmy Buffett. She dated Jimmy Buffett.
Wow.
I even met him.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Damn. Sail away again to Margaritaville, Dave.
But anyways,
Okay.
it is what it is. Folks, that's the show today. Hopefully we've, talked about how wonderful Christmas Day was when we beat the Lions. Not only beat them, but their backside and knocked them out of the playoffs. We talked about this week in Vikingsland with the 3 subjects there. And we finished off with imploring Mark, Ziggy, and crew to re-sign
Come on, man. Get it done.
Brian Flores. Please re-sign him.
Dave will fall down the stairs for you if you re-sign him.
Yes.
He's already proven he can do that this week.
It's the best move in the offseason. Just re-sign Brian Flores. So, with that, gentlemen,
SKOL.
Any last words?
God, no.
We've gone almost 2 hours. This is our longest show.
Wow. Tequila. Dun, dun,
Tequila.
dun, 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 dun. Tequila. SKOL. We got a big show next week. Am I doing the preview for the next week's show?
Yes.
You are.
I only got one note. Get him to 53, damn it. That's all I'm reviewing next week, but that's all that matters to me. Get Jefferson that 53 yard. You got to do it.
Gotcha. And beat
But
that team
that
from
team.
Wisconsin.
Yes, sir.
Darren?
But SKOL.
No, sir, man. Just SKOL Vikings. Looking forward to next week, whenever they're playing. We don't know if they're playing Saturday or Sunday at this point, right? Or what time they're playing. It's all to be decided.
We don't know what day they're going to play? What?
No, we don't yet. So,
Because they were looking to slot the game into like one of the prime positions if it meant something. Now the game doesn't mean anything, so I expect it should be an 11 a.m. game on Sunday, don't you think?
It means a lot to Brosmer's mom and Clayton Toon's mother. It means a lot to those two ladies.
with that, thanks everybody for watching. Go enjoy your football. I know it's already started. SKOL Vikings.
Let's go back.
Like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And rate us on your favorite podcast aggregator. Darren and Dave, thank you for watching this episode of Two Old Bloggers. We look forward to seeing you on every show on the new Vikings First and SKOL. You can find our podcasts as part of the Fans First Sports Network. Sports takes for the fan, from the fan. SKOL, everybody!